Welcome to today's first video. Firstly, Somalia-Ethiopia border, where for more than a week clashes have been going on between Ethiopian forces and an armed group from Somalia, Al-Shabaab. Last night, on Monday night, a strike was conducted on Al-Shabaab positions in Somalia, and secondly, a top Al-Shabaab commander visited some border areas, some frontline areas where fighting has been going on between Ethiopian government forces and Al-Shabaab fighters in the last few days. Secondly, we have a new story about Ethiopian Orthodox Church Patriarch Abune Mathias, who last week announced that he was going to travel to the US for medical checkup. He has departed Ethiopia in coming hours. He is going to arrive in Washington, D.C. Who is going to receive him there are large number of Tigrayans expected to receive Abune Mathias in Washington. Thirdly, we have a new story about hunger strike started around a week ago by some activists, Ethiopian activists, mostly ethnic Amharas in London. Today is day 7 of this hunger strike. Fourthly, a new story about Derartu Tulu, legendary Ethiopian athlete, now serving as chairman, president of Ethiopian Athletics Federation. Ethiopian athletics team performed outstandingly well in the recent World Athletics Championship. And now we are seeing a campaign mostly in support of Derartu Tulu. Tigrayan diaspora members are appreciating the performance, the leadership of Derartu Tulu, and some are criticizing her that she blessed the genocide of Tigrayans. And they are comparing Derartu Tulu and Haile Gebremichael, that both played the same role. We'll have a look at these conflicting positions taken by some Tigrayan diaspora community members. And lastly, was Debretsion Gebremichael, Tigray's president, was interviewed by Tigray TV last night, and he spoke on several important issues like disarming of Tigray Defense Force, future status of Tigray, peace talks, role of opposition parties. We'll try to analyze what Debretsion Gebremichael said. He said that Ethiopian government was forced to start peace talks. Can we say that the government was forced to start peace talks with Tigray regional government? Firstly, Ethiopia Somalia border. Around a week ago, Al-Shabaab fighters carried out attacks on Ethiopian territories. From Somalia, they entered Ethiopia. In the first attack, they entered Afdir zone of the Somali region of Ethiopia from Bakul zone of Somalia. They suffered losses. Ethiopian government said that around 100 Al-Shabaab fighters were killed in the first attack. Then in the second attack, 2 days ago, Al-Shabaab fighters tried to enter another zone of the Somali region of Ethiopia. And again, there was fighting in border areas. And last night, Ethiopian government backed sources claim that around 80 Al-Shabaab fighters had been killed. Now, we have received some pictures shared by some pro-Al-Shabaab websites. They have shown the pictures of a commander, a senior Al-Shabaab commander who has visited front lines on Ethiopia-Somalia border. Name of this commander is Fuad Shangole. Fuad Shangole, you can see his picture on the screen. Reportedly, he has visited front lines. Question is, where did he visit? Did he enter Ethiopian territories? Or how close was he to Ethiopian border? because we know that Ethiopian government has been saying that it is trying to remove Al-Shabaab and to push it away from Ethiopian border. And in the second phase, Al-Shabaab will be pushed away from Ethiopian border. Reportedly, Fuad Shangole visited Bakul zone of Somalia. And some say he visited Yid and Ato. Yid and Ato are two towns which are right on Ethiopia Somalia border. The towns were under the control of Somalia's government. There was deployment of Ethiopian forces as well from Somali region. Somali region special forces were deployed to Yid and Ato. Then Al-Shabaab hit Ethiopian forces in Yid Ato. Ethiopian forces suffered losses there as well. If Fuad Shangole has visited Yid and Ato, it means that Yid and Ato are not under the control of Somalia's government, and there is no deployment of Ethiopian government forces there, it seems. We have not seen any video showing Fuad Shangole that he is in Yid and Ato, but pro-Al-Shabaab news sources are claiming that he did visit Yid and Ato town. Secondly, on Monday night, US conducted another airstrike on Al-Shabaab positions in Somalia. In a previous video, I reported an airstrike on Al-Shabaab positions in Jubaland a few days ago by US. And last night, on Monday night, another airstrike was conducted, this time in Lower Shabelle of Somalia. Details are not being shared so far about number of casualties, who the target, but airstrike, US airstrike on Al-Shabaab positions in Lower Shabelle, Somalia has been confirmed. I think this is the third airstrike since Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud took office in May. He authorized the deployment of US special forces to counter Al-Shabaab. And after that, we saw start of drone strikes, airstrikes on Al-Shabaab positions. But Al-Shabaab's attacks are intensifying. We have seen that they entered Ethiopian territories. Secondly, we have a new story about Ethiopian Orthodox Church Patriarch Abune Mathias. Last week, he announced that he was departing for a visit abroad for medical treatment, and a few hours ago he departed Ethiopia from Bole airport of Addis Ababa. Church officials bid farewell to Abune Mathias at Bole airport of Addis Ababa. In coming hours, he is going to arrive in Washington, D.C. He will arrive at Dulles Airport of Washington, D.C. Abba Phanuel, who is Ethiopian Orthodox Church Archbishop of North America, he has passed directions. He has passed directions to all dioceses. They should formally receive Abune Mathias Patriarch at Dulles Airport of Washington, D.C. Tigrayan diaspora members are likely to receive Abune Mathias in Washington, D.C. Tigrayan diaspora community sees Abba Phanuel, Archbishop of Ethiopian Orthodox Church for North America, as a controversial figure, and they say that he tried to silence Abune Mathias when Abune Mathias tried to speak for the people of Tigray. Last year, we saw a smuggled video of Abune Mathias when he condemned genocide of Tigrayans. It was being said that he was not allowed to speak because he wanted to condemn the genocide of Tigrayans. He used the word genocide in his video that was leaked last year. It is said that Abune Mathias is not on good terms with Ethiopian government, Ethiopian PM Abiy. Will Abune Mathias return to Ethiopia? That remains to be seen. It is being said that in around a month he will return to Ethiopia, but still it's not clear. Tigray diaspora community members are sharing social media posts and messages telling the diaspora members to reach Dulles Airport of Washington DC to receive Abune Mathias. Will update you in coming hours. Who will receive Abune Mathias in Washington? How many Tigrayans will be there to welcome him? Thirdly, we have a new story about a hunger strike started around a week ago by some Ethiopian activists, mostly ethnic Amharas. Several Amhara activists went on hunger strike around a week ago in London on a street opposite Downing Street of London. And today is day 7 of this hunger strike. Yodit Gideon is an activist. She leads an NGO, Stop Amhara Genocide, and she is one of the activists who have gone on hunger strike. Reportedly yesterday, emergency health service was provided to these activists because some of them were facing serious problems because of this hunger strike. But hunger strike is still continuing. When will this hunger strike come to an end? That remains to be seen. Amhara activists are trying to attract the attention of international media, of top officials, top government officials, leaders in Britain, to highlight the alleged genocide of ethnic Amharas in Ethiopia. These activists and some groups based in the Amhara region of Ethiopia claim that Amharas are being targeted, that genocide of Amharas is being committed in Oromia, especially in Valaga. Hundreds have been killed in recent days, and in Amhara region as well. We have seen that around 2 months ago an operation was launched against armed militia Fano and its sympathizers, supporters. Since then, thousands have been arrested in the Amhara region of Ethiopia, and these arrested persons, these arrested people have been shifted to some prisons outside Amhara region. So hunger strike continues in London. Thirdly, a news story about Derartu Tulu, Ethiopian athlete, legendary Ethiopian athlete, now serving as president of Ethiopian Athletics Federation. Ethiopian athletics team excelled at World Athletics Championships last week. Ethiopia stood at number 2. Ethiopia won 4 gold medals, and 3 gold medalists are from Tigray. December Gede, Kutetam Gebremichael and Gudaf Sege won gold medals. The 3 women are from the Tigray region. Tigrayan diaspora community is divided when it comes to appreciating or criticizing Derartu Tulu. Firstly, we have seen a letter of appreciation written by a Tigrayan diaspora organization. The organization's name is ATAD, Alliance of Tigray Diaspora, Tigray Association of Diaspora, ATAD. And this organization wrote a letter of appreciation to Derartu Tulu, thanked Derartu Tulu, shared gratitude that Derartu Tulu helped Ethiopian athletes, especially Tigrayan athletes, and she showed leadership. And this organization hoped that Derartu will keep on performing in the same way. At the same time, some Tigrayan activists criticized Derartu Tulu. They said no difference between Derartu Tulu and Haile Gebremichael, who blessed the war on Tigray. Both are the same. Well, both are not the same. I remember last year, it was a crime to be silent. Everyone in position of power in Ethiopia was under pressure that he or she must support the war on Tigray, and those who remained silent were seen as Tigray supporters. So that is why we saw that even those who preached peace, they had to offer apologies, like that singer Tariko. He preached peace and later he apologized. He had to cry to prove his love for Ethiopia. So last year, everyone was under pressure to support the war on Tigray, but Derartu in no statement supported the war on Tigray. She remained largely neutral. She's been seen with Tigrayan athletes. She's been trying to console them. She's been trying to support them as much as possible. It was a difficult situation last year. In that difficult situation, she managed to keep this institution free from ethnic and political color. That is why I say she should be appreciated. She is from Oromia. This appreciation will lead to better Oromo-Tigray ties, Oromo-Tigrayan ties. People should learn that they should appreciate people from other ethnic groups as well. Lastly, we have a new story about Debretsion Gebremichael, Tigray's president, who was interviewed by Tigray TV last night. He spoke on several important issues. What did he say? Firstly, he said that the government was forced to talk to Tigray, that had Ethiopian government the capability to crush Tigray Defense Force, it wouldn't have talked to Tigray. So these offer of peace talks, the truce, are signs of weakness. Well, let me comment on that. In the first phase of Tigray conflict, when Tigray fighters were fighting in Tambian, yes, Eritrean forces, Ethiopian National Defense Force, regional forces, they could not completely eliminate Tigray Defense Force. In Tambian, a war went on. Yes, TDF had to retreat from all major towns and cities because they were unable to defend those places. And there were fears of collateral damage as well, civil casualties. So they had to retreat, but they defended Tambian. And ultimately, Eritrean, ENDF, they had to withdraw. They could not subdue, they could not defeat Tigray Defense Force. Then came the second phase, when Tigray forces entered Amhara far. And their target suddenly became Addis Ababa. They said there was no force between Tigray Defense Force and Addis Ababa. And they were discussing transitional government. Then came TB2s and Winglongs, and TDF had to retreat after suffering losses. So we cannot say that these peace talks show that the two sides or that Ethiopian government is weak. I think weakness is in terms of economic pressure. Ethiopian government is under economic pressure. It isn't in a position to continue this war, and Tigray isn't in a position as well to continue fighting because Tigray is under siege. That is why Tigray has stepped back from some of its positions regarding talks. Secondly, he talked about TDF. It will not be disarmed. Once again, not something new. Thirdly, future of Tigray, he said people will decide. So he did not say that Tigray will be an independent country, that referendum will be held, when will it be held. He just said people will decide. It means referendum will be held, he meant to say. But question is, when will this referendum be held? So far, no announcement from Tigray regional government. He talked about aid. He said only 1 month aid, which is enough for 1 month use in Tigray, has arrived. It's not enough. He talked about the money of Tigrayans in Ethiopian banks, a very important point. He said 70 billion of Tigrayans is with Ethiopian banks. But banking service is suspended in Tigray. The Tigrayans have no access to their own money. Yes, that's very unfortunate that Tigrayans don't have access to their own hard-earned money because no banking service in Tigray. So while Tigrayans are in need of food, in need of housing, in need of clothes, in need of everything, they don't have the money which they earned. That is why banking service must resume in Tigray. He criticized opposition parties once again. He said that opposition parties, some of their actions are not useful for people's struggle. Opposition government relations in Tigray are strained. There is no question about that. Though when I speak on the people say, Saji, you are promoting conflicts in Tigray. But we have seen statements from Tigray regional government, opposition parties, they are not on the same page. Opposition parties want Tigray government to work towards independence and to take opposition parties on board. Tigray government is keeping this option of independence open, but its focus is on talks with Ethiopian government, and its focus is on retaking of Amhara, Volkai, Sagade of Western Tigray. Thanks for watching.